Hi guys, this is the original jQuery template that we used in class for demoing some jQuery. The reason that I've created this template is because it's nice and simple visually. We've got four large boxes of different colors, four buttons that relate to each box or whatever box we would like them to relate to for click events, and then a fifth box that we use for kinds of animations and things like that. The original code, which is called clean template-jQuery revision, has some CSS classes. It has the four boxes here within the HTML, blue, green, yellow, red. You can see them here. And then it also has the buttons within the HTML. Now, with jQuery, one of the main kind of original coding concepts that you will start with is this thing called a document ready. And what that is kind of like a div wrapper for jQuery code. It provides protection for the code that's written inside, and it more or less tells the computer when the document is ready, meaning the HTML document, then go and do this code. So what I'll do is I'll just save it. You can see that it starts here on line 77, it ends here on 118. But at the moment, if I go back and reload, nothing is happening. Even if I click buttons, we're not getting any kind of activity. And that's because all of the code at the moment from the template is commented out, which means it won't work. So what I'll do is I'll just turn one of the code lines on, this one on line 80, blue.hide 5000. If I uncomment it, save, go back, reload, you can see now when we reload the page, when the document is ready, it will start to hide the div. And you can see that if we change the timing of it, something longer, 12,000 milliseconds, if we reload, it's a lot slower, okay? Or if I come back and change that to 120 milliseconds, if we come back and reload that, it's much faster than 1/10 of a second, or a little bit slower. Now, if I turn the rest of these code lines on directly underneath, they're just going to apply to the different colored boxes we have on the screen, blue, green, yellow, and red. We'll talk about that in one sec. You can see now that they are all beginning to hide one after the other, sometimes in unison. They're slower than each other because we've got different time settings within here. So I'll just take that back to 3,000 milliseconds for the blue, and you'll see now that they all work kind of in combination. If I save this down and reload, now 3 seconds, green, however many seconds, yellow, then red. And you can see it all happening there. Now a line of jQuery code, if I just highlight that and zoom on in, you'll see that it has this $sign here. Now a $sign is used in some other coding languages, but when it comes to JavaScript, $signs usually always mean that jQuery is being used. And what the $sign does is you can think of it as a selector, okay? So the $sign is like an S. I'm going to select the blue, okay? Now when it says blue, it's got a little clue for us. We've got a dot here, which signifies a class in CSS. So what the jQuery will do is it's going to look for things that have a blue class in the HTML, and then it will hide them for 3 seconds. And if we go up here, what do you know? We've got a div box blue, and then it's going to hide this box for 3 seconds. That's what this part of jQuery code does. All these kind of $sign ones are the part where you say to the code, hey, go and get this thing from the HTML for me, and then go and do this to the thing that we grab. In this sense, hide, okay? I'll just save that down one more time, and we'll give it a reload, and we've seen it happen before. We can see it happening again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to adjust the code a little bit. Instead of doing a blue hide for 3 seconds and then green hide, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say blue hide, and then I'm going to do a blue show, okay? Let's see if this works. So we're saying blue hide for 3 seconds, then blue show. Instead of for 10 seconds, we'll say 3 seconds. Okay, let's reload. So the blue is hiding. And then the blue comes back and it shows. So the opposite of hide is show, and both of these things are what's known as jQuery methods, okay? Hide is a jQuery method. You're telling jQuery to do something to the thing that we've selected, the selectors being over here. And show is a jQuery method. You're telling it to show the blue thing, which we've selected over here, in this case, a blue div. Now, further down the page, I'll just comment this code out. You can see something called chaining, okay? I've got in the comment here, this is called chaining. You can see the dots that chain the code together. And what we're saying is, anything with a box class, we're going to hide for 3 seconds, then we're going to show for 3 seconds. Now, when you do chaining, what it does is it happens one after the other, kind of like before. It's just a different code pattern where you're instructing it to do things one after the other by chaining things onto each other with this little dot and addition right at the end of the code. It's kind of the same as this one up here, but in this case, on line 92, this one here, what we've done is we've just written the code in this way, where we would delete some of the code and we say dot hide 3000 dot show 3000. This is the chaining sequence that we've put into play, okay? Now that chaining, you can see it in code on line 92. It's not applying to any of the colors or the colored boxes. It's applying to all the boxes. Hide for 3 seconds, show for 3 seconds. Let's see what this does. If we jump back and reload, they all go away and then they all come back. Okay, and that is because if we look at the code, all of the divs have this thing which we could call a box class, or is a box class. So it means that when we use box as a selector, it's going to influence all of these divs, meaning all of these boxes here, including this gray one here. Okay? And that's called chaining. So what I could do now is highlight this little chunk of code, and then I'll bolt that onto the end of it. And now it's going to hide 3 seconds, show 3 seconds, hide 3 seconds, show 3 seconds. If we save and reload, you can now see the chaining happening again. This time, not just 2 times, but it'll go on to do it 4 times because we've chained the hide and show methods together.